So today we're going to talk about Jack London, an American author. He's a pioneer in the then burgeoning world of commercial magazine fiction and was one of the first fiction writers to obtain worldwide celebrity and a large fortune from his fiction alone. Jack London, also called John Griffith Chaney. He was born in San Francisco, California, during the time of Gold Rush. Therefore, his works contain a great many Gold Rush elements. And now we are going to talk about his family. Jack London's real father, William Chaney, was never part of his life. Despite Chaney's denial of the identity of Jack's biological father, it was undeniable that Jack's mother, Flora Wellman, was pregnant when they were in a relationship. And finally, Chaney abandoned her before Jack's first birthday. And then his mother, Flora Wellman. Flora Wellman had a reverse Cinderella story. She was a daughter from a wealthy family in Ohio, ended up living in a working-class Oakland, California. So just like we said, his mother was from a wealthy family in Ohio, so she also received a very good education at that time. She was a strong force behind her son's earliest writing success. Flora saw an announcement one day in one of the local papers for a writing contest. She pushed her son to write down and submit his story. Armed with just an 8th grade education, London captured the $25 first prize, beating out college students from Berkeley and Stanford. For London, the contest was an eye-opening experience, and he decided to dedicate his life to writing short stories. Found myself today singing out like your name. Jack London briefly enrolled in UC Berkeley, but he dropped out after 1 year because of financial hardship in 1897. Due to Gold Rush momentum and the struggle of making a living, he went to Yukon in Canada to seek for a small fortune. When he returned to Oakland, he had $4.50 in gold dust in his pocket, and the memories, stories, and journals that, based on his experiences, springboard him into literary history. For instance, To Build a Fire was one of the short stories he wrote based on these experiences. So now we are going to summarize it. A man travels in the Yukon on an extremely cold morning with a husky wolf dog. The cold does not faze the man, a newcomer to the Yukon, who plans to meet his friend by 6 o'clock at an old claim. He is confident to travel along in this severe weather despite of the advice from the old-timer. As it gets colder, this man begins to realize how dangerous he is to travel by himself. But he still believes he will be fine, as long as he can avoid the ice water and stay dry. However, he falls through the snow and wets himself up to his shins. The man starts a fire successfully and begins to dry his feet. Before he could dry himself, clumps of snow from the spruce tree above fall down and snuff out the fire. The man is scared and sets himself to building a new fire. Aware that he is already going to lose a few toes from the frostbite, he decides to kill the dog and put his hand inside the warm body. But it fails because he is not able to take out the knife by his hands. As time goes by, he knows death is coming to him. Then he falls into a comfortable sleep. And now for the end lines. This is a naturalism story implies the need for survival in severe coldness. Naturalism is interested in the deep conflicts that bring out the brute instincts of man. London's story provides one of the oldest conflicts in literature and life: man versus nature. The man is at constant risk of freezing in the brutal cold and soon mere survival. Rather than the prospect of fighting gold, we become his preoccupation. The main character in this story is not only the man, it's also the dog that we mentioned before. Through Jack London's literature, we found that he particularly likes to talk about dogs because they symbolize the cross between civilization and wilderness that characterize the White North. The dog wants to be out of the cold, and it looks upon the man as a provider of food and fire, interchangeable with all of the other humans who could provide these things. The other story that Jack London wrote after he came back from Yukon is called The Call of the Wild. The story takes place during the Klondike Gold Rush, shortly after gold was discovered in Klondike in 1897. The plot follows the story of Buck, a dog who is kidnapped and taken up to north to work as a sled dog. As he journeys through the Yukon Territory, the harsh natural conditions play a crucial role in how Buck changes throughout the story.
Because you know I'm all about that bass, no trouble. I'm all about that bass, no trouble. I'm all about that bass, no trouble. I'm all about that bass, bass. Yeah, it's pretty clear, I ain't no size 2, but I can shake it